So this is my second time or third time technically recording this because I really wanted to address everything that's happened with Marathon, Bungie, and Anti-Real. Um the rest of the video after this part will be my actual review of the Marathon closed alpha. But it just felt right to talk about this now instead of inserting in between the video itself. So it's not so jarring of a jump or a cutaway. I mean, but a few days ago, an artist by the name of Anti-Real posted a thread on Twitter and detailed that Bungie's Marathon had plagiarized her work, and they absolutely admitted to it. The Twitter account immediately responded and said, "Yes, we have reports that yes, it is all there. Like we they copied everything." And then later they had a Play MA live stream on the Marathon live stream, and that was one of the worst live streams ever. You know, the art director looked like absolute hell. You can tell he was just like up for nights making phone calls and who knows what else. And the audio was off. Everything was just broken. It was pathetic. Devil's advocate, I'm pretty sure they had something, detailed, planned, and scheduled, to show off more of the game, which they couldn't anymore because it was all clearly plagiarized. You know, and they came out and said that a previous, developer on the game submitted Anti-Real's work for the decals of crates and the walls and certain stuff here and there. Um, not inherently all of the art assets was stolen. It's just mainly like specific decals here and there that was stolen. Um, I will be putting Anti-Real's Twitter thread or just Twitter in general and their website because they are an incredible artist. They deserve all the recognition. Give them a follow. I've already started following them when this all happened. And it's disappointing. It's absolutely unacceptable that this happened. Again, this is like what, your fourth, fifth offense now? Are you kidding me? I don't know what's going on. If it really is like new hires coming in and just like thinking they can plagiarize and just sneak shit in there. But you like the art director and other devs on the game of Marathon follow Anti-Real. So you guys, how did it just slip under the radar? I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible for them to not completely notice it, but to be following them since 2017 and not notice their art in the game? I don't know. It's just absolutely unacceptable. And then as the days have been going by, Paul Tassi and a bunch of other, people have been reaching out to, devs in Bungie saying that morale is at is a free fall since this whole debacle happened. I can see why. And then I think one of the biggest ones that kind of harpened to my original thoughts on Marathon came to light. Previous Bungie devs have expressed how leadership should be gutted and how toxic leadership at Bungie is. And man, I don't want people to lose their jobs, but the people on the leadership roles on Bungie are not qualified to run Bungie. Okay. A lot of the devs apparently went to the leadership and said, "Hey, Marathon can't just be an extraction shooter. It needs to have more PvE elements." But no, they were hooked on Tarkov and they wanted to make their own. They wanted to make their own, chase a trend. And I truly wanted to give Marathon a shot, and I am. I hopefully this game does come out and it gets a fair shot of being an extraction shooter. I was willing to give it a shot because that's what we were being sold right? So I was like, okay, fine. It's a new game. Let's see what they got. But after everything that's happened, for one, this game needs to be fucking delayed. It is not coming out in September. And other reports and interviews have said that this game needs to make it in the top 5 chart. I forget what it was of 2025. That's not happening. That is not fucking happening whatsoever. And if you're going to delay this, and if leadership's going to change, I'm going to say what I think a lot of people have said. I really haven't heard. I really haven't heard anything about this, but Marathon should have been the competitor to 343's Halo. Marathon should have been Bungie's new Halo. It should have had a kick-ass main character. It should have had an awesome campaign fighting aliens just like the original trilogy. And honestly, you should have had it, you could have still put your extraction shooter as the multiplayer of the game. Sure, why not? Normal multiplayer. I don't know. Two birds, one stone. I don't fucking know. Marathon should have been your guys' new Halo. Should have been a campaign, multiplayer. Can't really coin it because the Halo and 343 have it. Well, sorry, Halo Studios has it. You should have had your own Forge world, maybe even a firefight. Destiny could have funded it. It could have been your single player game, but no. This all happened. You guys are on fire, and I'm tired. I really am. I still haven't decided if I want to remove my review of the art. But to preface this review was before this all happened. Okay. The aesthetics and the art style is still really, really good. They clearly just need to completely redo the decals and everything that was obviously Anti-Real's artwork and just completely revamp it. Make it your own. I don't know where you guys are going to go from here. I really don't. I really don't know. All I know is this game needs to be delayed. It cannot come out this year. And it's you guys are already screwed. You're about to, if you delay it to next year, you're going up against GTA 6. Good fucking luck. Anyways, like I said before, I'm going to put Anti-Real socials and their website down in the description. Please give them a follow. They deserve all the recognition for the work that they did. Okay. And before we say anything, Anti-Real should get a big bag. It's too late for, hiring, right? I know I've seen a lot of people say just hire her, just hire Anti-Real to work on the game. No. If that was me, I don't want to work for Bungie, the person that just stole my art. No. If I was, no, Anti-Real's, no, that's not how that works. Not only that, it's too late. It is way too late now. They should have hired her. They should have reached out and hired her the moment this game started going into production and they knew what aesthetic and art style they wanted the game to be. But that's just not how it works. That's not how hiring works. At the most, they should just give her a really big, nice, cozy bag of money. Again, that's really it. On to the rest of the video. Thank you. So, I was one of the lucky few in my Destiny group that got an actual invite code to the Marathon Alpha. I almost said Destiny. Oops. And I've played around 20 hours or so. I mean, I honestly don't know how many hours because PlayStation is not tracking my hours on the Alpha app itself because it doesn't register as an actual game, I guess. Other than that, I just have some general thoughts about the game, some critiques that hopefully Bungie can benefit if this video makes it to one of their devs, I guess. To start off, I've never played an extraction shooter before. And technically Lethal Company, Rebo, those are technically extraction games. They fall into that, I guess gameplay style umbrella. Um, but they're not shooters, clearly, right? Extraction shooters are pretty simple. You get in, get loot, that levels you up, your gear, survive other players or possibly AI, get out. Pretty self explanatory. Marathon is just that. But what is Marathon? It's an old game franchise that Bungie made not long before Halo came out. And I'm sure those interested enough to watch this video have heard enough uh, of that set already. That we all know what Marathon is. I think enough people know. There's plenty of videos out there just detailing the whole lore, uh, and obviously just here for my general thoughts on the game. Come on, in my experience. So, as I'm speaking now, it just got extended by 2 days. This is Monday, and since then, I mean, I'm hooked. Marathon has me hooked. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with the game. Uh, Gameplay's always top tier. It's Bungie. Bungie always makes top tier, gunplay. These guys know how gunplay should feel, so it can feel fun and snappy for the player to be engaged. The art style to me is honestly beautiful. I love it. It's if minimalism decided to have way more color. They themselves have said that it's based off of graphic realism, and just a quick Google search on graphic realism, you know exactly what it is. Um, so far, there's only been one other game that most people would know that uses graphic realism, and that was Mirror's Edge. The art style to me is actually a lot of fun. They leaned into the graphic realism for its unique style that isn't seen much in gaming. The only other game that I can personally remember that uses this style of graphic realism was Mirror's Edge during the 360 era. Plus, the funky cyberpunk aesthetic always does it for me, more so with the game soundtrack. The tone of the game's music is honestly phenomenal. And listening to it, I can picture the world of Tau Ceti 4 before I even see it, in game. It's got that techno synth vibe, really just sets, the time setting and the rest of the music sounds and vocals. It sounds like it has vocals, but it could be just something, made synthetically on a program. It just gives off that sense of mysterious emptiness. Halo, for example, has moments like that with its soundtrack when you are given certain set pieces that show off Forerunner architecture, right? These huge, daunting structures just towering over the character. The music has this wonder and awe to it when presented with these fantastical and impossible structures, and has a sense of mystery. With this new entry into the Marathon universe, you are thrust into a world with abandoned human facilities, so the music sells it with a haunting techno vibe instead and makes you ask questions. What happened to our people instead of what happened with the Forerunners, because they're not humans. So it's a lot more akin to, I would say, Indiana Jones, where you're discovering ancient civilizations and they're almost alien, almost unrecognizable, right? So it's a lot more bombastic and fun and interesting to go spelunking and just and searching for treasures and lore and knowledge. Marathon does the opposite, where it seems all these structures are based on reality, with our own modern architecture. Even though it's distant future stuff, it's recognizable, right? So it always makes you ask very horrifying questions. What happened to our people? What horrors did they experience? Where did they go? Music honestly nailed it. They nailed it, and I absolutely love it. Bungie, please put this game's soundtrack on streaming platforms. Hopefully, when this game comes out, or on vinyl. I would love that. Thank you. I mentioned the design before and how I love the aesthetic of the game itself. The interiors of the buildings are absolutely breathtaking, absolutely beautiful. I love the little details in these buildings and or the vehicles that you walk into. Gorgeous, gorgeous, except for the exterior of the world, like the nature itself. Um, it it definitely needs a very distinct look that really helps contrast or at least complements the bright colors of all the buildings inside. I do believe that the color palettes for the the nature settings when you're outside are too soft, a little bit too dull. Same kind of with the exterior buildings, but I feel like the exterior buildings are fine. They should honestly stay a little bit plain outside compared to their interiors, so that way the nature can pop. Um, so I really hope you guys tweak the design of the land itself, of the outside world. I know I'm pretty sure they've already mentioned this when responding to people that like, yes, we're working on it. Don't worry, this is still an alpha build, and this is how the outside world looks currently on this build of the alpha, and what we're working to make it a little bit brighter, hopefully, right? There's not a whole lot to say about the gunplay itself. I mean, if you are a fan of the Bungie games, there's, I mean, it's simple, it's great. My one complaint though, you guys need to tone down the aim assist. It's way too strong in game, and I think you guys toned it down during that mid alpha update, because I noticed recently in this last week it wasn't as strong. Maybe obviously now that the alpha's over, I can't wait to hopefully I can I can get into the next, I guess, alpha or beta that's coming out. I would like to see how much you guys tweak the aim assist, because I really do think that needs to be a tad bit tuned, to just tune it back a little bit. It was a little bit too much. um and dude, fighting enemy AI is honestly pretty satisfying and a lot of fun. The UESC bots are super engaging to fight, and if you're not careful, they will destroy you. I come from a game like Destiny, so fighting these guys isn't typically all that difficult of a task. I tend to just kind of have like my fuck up moments where like maybe I'm repositioned wrong, or I'm caught off guard on a bad timing on reloads. Just a general oopsie from time to time. I'm used to playing grandmasters with my fire team. So tough AI is, I'm used to it, right? I think the tough part about this discussion is how you guys to plan to balance them for newcomers. This specific extraction shooter is meant for, I would say, newbies like me to learn and get into an extraction shooter. You can really tell that's Bungie's goal for this game. So I guess tuning them uh to newcomers who aren't attuned to say Nightfalls and Grandmasters from like Destiny 2, they might have a tough experience with them. Um but honestly what they have now is fine. It's definitely that situation of like, Dark Souls, get good, right? Just if you want to get into this game, get good at it. So definitely what they have now is pretty good. Because when you start off into the game, you get a pretty chill experience to learn the tutorial, and then they do throw you into the world and into matches, but as I kept playing through all these hours, I can definitely tell that they just match you with other players just in your team, and they throw you into the game with really no opposition of other players. Because I definitely, in the first, like, I would say 3 to 5 matches, I heard no gunfire, I heard no people at all in the game, just me and my actual teammates, and we extracted every time. And then after like a small number of games, they then throw you into the fire with actual PvP enabled. So it definitely has a really decent onboarding process. I guess it's up to them to think what's too strong or too weak when it comes to AI and tutorializing and getting people acclimated to the game. The PvP itself has been a lot of fun. And yeah, losing constantly um in a row, like over and over again, from players ha- hasn't really been all that demoralizing. With the help of the black market giving you a loadout when you upgrade as the first faction that you get your hands on, you get to buy a loadout. And honestly, I figured that losing everything on a run would feel awful. It does suck, but I never really felt defeated. So I feel they really, you know, got that to work. I At least for me personally. I mean, if you're someone that gets kind of frustrated on losing all the items that you've collected, maybe this ain't the game for you. So I'll warn you now, stay clear of it. But for someone like me, it was definitely fine. I didn't really have an issue losing my shit. I just wanted to boot up a new run and try again and again and again. I do think these games would benefit with maybe one extra group of players, like maybe an extra team or two. The game, with the amount of players that are in each map, could benefit with adding another one, maybe one or two more groups of players. So that way, the moment to moment gameplay, versus other players can pick up the pace a tiny bit and you can have more engagement. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like that the amount of people was fine, but at the same time, I'm kind of indifferent. Maybe it needs an extra team or two in there. Maybe it doesn't. I don't I have to play more, to be honest. Movement feels good. The abilities feel good as well. And I think this honestly is a good feeling game to play. And you can get addicted for sure. I just think this game is going to be a tough sell for the casual audience. It's already a tough sell for extraction shooter players, and especially Destiny fans. This is nothing like Destiny. Extraction shooter players have been in the game for a while, and they are used to their hardcore games like Escape from Tarkov, and now we're getting some new ones with that Arc something game. I'll put an image on it. And a game like Marathon could seem too simple for them. Destiny players have time with hardcore PvP game modes like Trials of Osiris, but nothing like this. This is different, Destiny's a lot faster, Marathon's a lot slower. Even with that experience, most players honestly wanted Destiny 3 to have a fresh start once again, which, as we know already, is mostly a PvE experience, which Marathon does have, but nothing to the scale of Destiny's. This game is built to be an easy entry into extraction shooter games, and that is doable. Games like Destiny were a good entry level MMO type game for console players. Marathon seems to be following Destiny in those similar footsteps, but it's tough to say if it will meet the same success that Destiny had. This is something Bungie needs to nail for this to work, and they have their work cut out for them with this new ambitious project, because this is going to be an uphill battle for them. If I can add one more thing, I would like to see some form of, I would say, a campaign, not a traditional campaign like Halo, Call of Duty, or Destiny campaign. I was thinking more of a one-shot mission, right? That flushes out the lore of Marathon. Just one. I honestly would just be happy with just one mission that has this kind of cinematic, bombastic feeling, like a first mission of Destiny 2 for their expansions. Usually, the first mission of any expansion in Destiny 2 is super cinematic and scripted and really gets the story told. I would think Marathon could benefit with something like this, kind of like this, the start of a season, you can either go at it solo or two of your other buddies, and there's just this kind of one-shot campaign that lasts you like a good couple of minutes, and you fight like AI or I don't know, other players, who knows. I would say more AI to kind of keep in line with this cinematic campaign mission structure, and it can really flesh out the lore more than having the PvP solely be relied on. So that way the game is not being held up solely by the PvP to tell Marathon's lore and story. Just having that one mission could be really cool. I mean, I would settle with just like a really cool cinematic for any new season launch that comes out with Marathon. I don't know. Maybe they're working on something like that. Maybe they have something planned to really flesh out the story of this game, because I am very, very well into the lore of Marathon. Just in general, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on the lore of Marathon. Shout out to Hidden Xperia. I watched his Marathon lore videos back when he put those out. Those are my general thoughts for the Marathon Alpha test. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for humoring me with my little rambles. This is a new thing I'm doing. I have a lot of thoughts when it comes to video games, and I tend to just ramble on with my friends and we have conversations. And I just felt like I wanted to make something, I wanted to get my creative juices flowing. I mean, at some point I need to continue just sketching. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.